Hey Bella, welcome to the show. I'm so excited to be talking to you today. So tell me what's going on, what's on your mind, what can I help out with?
Hi, Erin. I'm super excited to be here. I wanted to know if you could kind of help me with finding the balance between finance and satisfaction when searching for a job.
Okay, tell me a little more. Finance and satisfaction, what industry are you in?
Right now, I'm in environmental science. That's kind of what I studied for my whole career. And after I graduated from school, I kind of found that a lot of the jobs in environmental science, if you want to work directly with wildlife, there's less financial opportunity. So it's going to be a lot of nonprofit organizations, zoos, or volunteering positions that are available. And then the careers that are readily available and are going to be more financially successful are going to be in consulting, engineering, and development, which is a different side of environmental science, but not the one that I'm currently passionate about.
Cool. Okay, got it. And then what do you currently do for work?
Right now, I'm an environmental consultant, so I'm kind of on that side of development and working with the clients to be able to develop their land. And it does have an environmental impact where I can kind of control how much is and isn't developed, but it's not exactly what I want to be doing long term.
Got it. Okay. So I love this. I have a lot of things to say on this. This is a classic dilemma. But the first thing I just want to say is that there's no such thing as long term. Everybody's obsessed with, what am I going to do long term? What am I going to do with my career? But the truth of the matter is that you're going to have a curveball. Like there is going to be a time in your career where you are going to have to pivot. Everyone has it. So many people thought, working in like tourism and hospitality was good long term. And then the pandemic hit and they didn't have a job. And a lot of people thought that working in a federal government role was good long term, and it was until, Elon Musk hit. So there's always going to be, some type of pivoting in your career, a curveball. So just that idea of long term, I just kind of wanted to help you like reframe that a bit there. But this is a classic dilemma, of should I work job A that makes me happy but doesn't pay as much, or should I work job B that makes me not as happy but, pays pretty good. I could sit here and tell you to run an analysis. You're a scientist, that's second nature to you, but I want you to explore the idea that you could have both. That you could have both a job that makes you happy and a job that supports you financially. We always create these false dichotomies in our head that are like, do I go this one route with the job that doesn't pay but makes me happy, or this other route with the job that pays really well and makes me unhappy? And it's just not always the case. I truly believe that, people who are really determined can find that happy medium. There's a spectrum of different jobs. I want to encourage you to not put yourself in a box. I'm curious, would you put yourself in that category of I'm getting paid pretty well, I have good benefits, but the job isn't making me happy?
Yes, that's exactly it. I spent all of my time during school working directly with wildlife. And so this job definitely is a big pivot away from that. And so I guess it's not what I expected for myself when I did graduate.
Okay, what did you expect?
I thought I would kind of find it easier to find one of those jobs that does work directly with wildlife, but still is able to support me financially as well.
Okay, got it. And what happened there? Could you not find the job, or the jobs didn't pay as well?
The jobs are very limited, so that was something I was surprised about as well. At least within the parameters I was looking for, I wanted to stay kind of closer to home, within my home state, and those types of things. So I also did wonder if perhaps I kind of, like you said, put myself into my own box and limited myself too much. And that was one of the issues I had. But this job that I'm currently in is definitely focused more in favor of the client, which means that if I can make a call that's not in favor, I guess, of the environmental sides of things, that's what they prefer.
Got it. All right. You're very delicate. I love that. This reminds me, did you ever watch How I Met Your Mother?
Yeah, I've seen some of those episodes.
Yeah, where like Marshall is, he's so passionate about the environment, but then he has a kid and he's like, oh, I have to become a corporate environmental lawyer to like make enough money for my family. This like very much reminds me of that storyline. But I have a question for you. So a lot of people think that like these decisions that they make in their career are permanent. It's like you're currently in, that one track where it's like, oh, I'm getting paid pretty well, but it's kind of soul sucking and it's not what I want to do. And then you're thinking about making this pivot. Just make the pivot. Just do it. Go take that lower paying job that makes you happy. And if it sucks and you're not making enough money to help support your life outside of that, and that's leading to unhappiness, then pivot back. Like, Most of the decisions that we make in life are reversible. We put so much emphasis on these decisions that we make, and we think, oh, well, if I pivot, there's no getting back on the other train. But people bounce around industries all the time. It's just these kind of limiting factors that we put on ourselves where we're like, oh, well, if I change tracks, I'm on that track. And I just don't think that's true for people like you. You have transferable skills, and your first job is a very good job. So I think you have a lot available to you. I encourage you to not think about, though, what kind of job you want to have, but rather think about what kind of days you want to live. So it sounds like to me that that's really important to you right now. It's just the downside of these jobs that you want to have is it's a financial struggle. So tell me a little bit more about that. Like how big of a pay cut do you think that you would be taking? And do you think that you could still live your best life on that pay?
I think I would have to definitely explore the job market more. The group I worked with throughout school actually offered me a job off the bat when I graduated, but the pay was $15 an hour and it didn't come with any benefits. It was an hourly instead of salary. And so there just were a lot of things that I had to take in consideration. And that's why I couldn't accept that job. But the day to day within that position, like I loved when I did work there and like going there after school or between school days was like the best thing ever.
$15 an hour?
Mhm.
Wow, with no benefits after
No.
graduating with the degree?
Yeah, and that's
Wow.
because it was, a nonprofit organization. They told me I think that a lot of people there cap out close to I think it was like 18 or 20, if I'm recalling correctly. So it was definitely a lower paying position.
Do you mind sharing like where you live or what the cost of living is like?
Yeah, so I'm currently located in the state of Tennessee, so it's generally cheaper than I would say a lot of other places. However, the cost of rising is going up like everywhere else, and $15 an hour definitely wouldn't have cut it.
I mean, that doesn't cut it for most places nowadays, especially if you have a degree, that's pretty low. So I applaud you for, that was probably pretty tempting, that's pretty fun. You took the big girl job, and you're making good money. How much are you making now, if you don't mind sharing?
Yeah. No, now I'm making around $60,000 a year.
Got it. So you turned down a job that paid like 18 to 20,000 for a $60,000 a year job. How do you feel about that decision?
I'm definitely glad that I did it. I mean, I've learned a lot within this job, even though it's not my ideal career. And then also, I am able to save a lot more money now and be able to do more things that support the lifestyle I want to live. So there are benefits. And that's why I said I'm struggling with the next job I want to look for, finding that balance between what I'm passionate about and then financial sustainability.
If you're struggling with making a decision, I want you to think about how you've made past decisions. So, for example, when you were graduating college and you had those two options, do I take the lower paying job that I love or the higher paying job that I don't like so much? And you made that decision. And now you're looking back and you're like, yeah, I feel good about how I made that. I would apply that same logic that you used to your new decision. You made that choice and you're like, looking back, yeah, I'm glad I made that choice. I learned a lot in this role. I've been able to pay my bills and fund my life. And now you're on to this next era and this next chapter. So you've gathered a lot of data at this job, both about your industry, but also about yourself. And so how can you use this newfound data to inform your next decision? I don't know. Like what you're talking about is a deeply personal decision. It all depends on what you want in your day. So let me just ask you this. Instead of thinking about what kind of job you have, what kind of days do you think that you want to live? How do you want to feel when you get out of bed in the morning?
I think being in environmental science and specifically I love to do conservation, there's a big part of I want my work to matter. And right now I don't feel that impact. And so that's something I think that I definitely want for the next position I look for.
Tell me more about that, wanting work to matter, because how much our work matters to us is actually a huge indicator of our general life happiness. So tell me more about how you feel about what you're currently doing and how that is leading to your unhappiness.
So currently in my position now, I work with the client. They'll develop their land, whether it be a building or a house, and then that's kind of the end of it. And my impact is no longer needed. And to some degree, I kind of feel like I'm assisting in the destruction of that landscape, which is not something that I imagined myself doing while in school and kind of my dream careers. Versus while I was working previously at that place that did offer me the job off the bat, I was directly working with wildlife. It was a big conservation position. And also, there was a huge education component too, where I was educating the public about the work I was doing. And so I felt like not only am I having a day-to-day impact on these animals' lives, but I'm also being able to educate others about the importance of these species.
That's amazing. That's incredible. I'd be curious to hear more about what else is important to you in your life. So, for example, if you're talking to me right now and you're like, Erin, I want to retire at 35, I'd say, yeah, stick it out in the corporate job. But if you're like, Erin, I could do this conservation stuff for the rest of my life. I don't really care about having a ton in my bank account. I really care about making an impact. Then I'd say, follow your heart, honestly. So I want to know more about you. Like, what's important to you and what are you leaning towards?
I think I'm leaning towards going to a lesser paying job. Obviously, there is still a component where I need to have, money to be able to pay the bills and pay rent and stuff like that. But I think right now, especially because I am younger, I'm able to afford to have a lesser paying job because I don't need to, have a ton of money for retirement or for children or a down payment on a house. So I think the next job I am leaning towards kind of more of my happiness over financial success, which I know is a blessing to be able to do that. But like I said, I think it's just as of right now. And then in the future, I can look towards maybe something higher paying again. Because these consulting, engineering, development jobs definitely are the primary career when you do a wide job search in environmental science.
Got it. Okay. Well, what I always say is that there is a monetary value to liking your job. It is not all about salary, 401k match. Life isn't all about money. It's just not. I meet so many people who hate their job and they make a ton of money. And I'm like, what's the point? Like, what's the point if you can't see your family and if you're taking phone calls on every vacation and you're working your body, you're going to die younger because of how much coffee you're drinking. It's not worth it. And I think that there is a monetary value to enjoying what you do and feeling like what you do is making an impact. And so, I believe in a balanced, holistic life. And I think that your heart is telling you what you need to do. I think that you have a great security because you said that there's available jobs, in consulting, you can always go back to doing that. But I think you should move quickly on this. I can tell that you are hurting a little bit because you're not doing what you're truly passionate about. And you actually feel like you're doing kind of the opposite of what you're passionate about. And I think, like you said, you're young, you don't have many responsibilities yet. I think you should go for it. I think you should go for it ASAP.
I think it's just like I knew that, but I needed to almost hear it just to be able to confirm that that's the right step. Because I haven't actually taken the leap yet into applying for jobs. I've been looking, but that initial step of applying for the first jobs is always scary. So it's nice to hear it from others too.
I mean, you'll get a job. I can just tell by talking to you, you'll get a job, no problem. I would, again, encourage you to not put yourself in those two boxes of I'm either poor or I'm rich. I think that there are good jobs out there. 10% of all jobs are good jobs. They're jobs that pay well and that people enjoy doing. They're not being posted about on the internet a lot. They're always through word of mouth and networking because they're in demand. And people who work at those companies stick around for a long time. So if I were you, I would get back into that alumni community, that college community, that career center, poke around, see who else went to your school, see what they're doing, listen to podcasts. And I think that you can use the power band here a little bit and find a job that you love and can, not make you broke, to be frank. And I think, though, I would really encourage you, don't sit on this. Don't ruminate. Don't overthink it. I'm telling you to go for it today. Start this process.
Yeah, I'm the worst overthinker, so I need the kick in the butt, as they say, to get started. And so I think it's definitely important to take that first step.
I'm so excited for you. I mean, go save the world, please. Now more than ever, please go preserve the world.
I know. I think we need it more now than ever. And like I said, I'm super passionate about it because I think it's important. So
it is important. And thank you. Thank you for the work that you're doing. I'm really excited for you. Please keep us updated. It was wonderful to meet you.
It was so nice to meet you too, Erin. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, thank you so much for calling in. Have a great rest of your day.
You too. Bye.
I designed a quiz that pairs you with your ideal career based off of your personality and lifestyle preferences. It's 30 questions. It's 100% free. Go over to advicewitherin.com/quiz to take it today. And every week, I send out a handwritten email with a piece of motivational advice and a communication tip. So if you'd like to join over 200,000 readers, head over to hyperhelpful.com. You're doing great. I'm proud of you. And remember, you got this.